Function has been crushing Legends League lately with a top 5 finish this year with nothing less but Super Dragons. And that of course raises the question whether Super Dragons can really compete with Root Riders and Dragons, and to answer that question we'll be taking a look at some of his attacks to see how dominant they really are, also regarding the upcoming Legends League system. With that, hello and welcome to yet another video. My name is Gum, and let's just dive right in the first attack, where we have this really nasty setup with the core invisibility tower as well as the rage tower. And what brings so much success to this attack strategy with the Super Dragons is that it's basically, I would say, an off-meta attack strategy. So that means that not really anyone is going to actually defend this attack strategy or build against this attack strategy. So currently within the Legends League, we have Root Riders are incredibly popular, we have Dragons are incredibly popular, and we have Rocket Loons that are like popular within a few good players. But Super Dragons, no one is really playing Super Dragons, so if you're good with like any of these off-meta attack strategies, you can have a lot of success. And to be honest, this attack, it couldn't be simpler, to be honest. It really couldn't be simpler. You just drop a Flame Flinger to get basically just a little bit of value. Like what this Flame Flinger is going to get are basically 2 multi-archer towers and nothing less. If you do this, for example, with a Root Rider attack strategy or with Super Yetis or something else, 2 multi-archer towers are not going to be enough. But the good thing is, it is going to do just a little bit of funneling, like not much, but just enough funneling so all of your dragons are going to go into the core. What I find incredibly interesting is that RH Function actually doesn't use a world champion within his army. So we have the Barbarian King in combination with the Spiky Ball as well as the Earthquake Boots. Then the Archer Queen, of course, with the Giant Arrow as well as the Healer Puppet. Then we have the Grand Warden with both of those books, and we have the Minion Prince, not with the Dark Crown, but with the Henchman Puppet as well as the Dark Orb. And you can see, it looks like there are basically no dragons left, but he brought 6 dragons into his attack. And how many dragons do we still have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 1 or basically 2 of his dragons went down, because of course also one of his dragons came out of the Clan Castle. But this is just such a huge overkill. How many? 4 dragons are left. 3 of their heroes are still up. I don't even know how much troop capacity that is. Basically all of his army is still left standing, and he could triple another base with this exact army that he has, and that he has in the end of this attack. It's just complete bonkers what these Super Dragons can really do to a base. But of course, to show that it's not just a fluke against this specific kind of base, let's take a look at a few more replays. Next up, we have this diamond base with the hook tower on the right side, and hook towers can be a real pain with Super Dragons, or like with any attack strategy in general, if you don't really know how to exactly approach these type of hook tower bases. But you can see on the left hand side that this is an exact scenario where no one is really taking care of Flame Flingers or building against Flame Flingers, because this is just free Flame Flinger value here for RH Function, especially with his dragons, which he is also of course going to send into the Townhall compartment. So basically, he now is getting a lot of value relatively quickly with his Flame Flinger, and then also he has set up a perfect funnel for his Super Dragons to march their way, or well, fly their way through the base from like the 10 o'clock section, where he can just fly over the base and crush it within no time. And you can see these attacks are incredibly quick. Like we're currently at 1 minute 30 and we're at 3%. We are at 3% in this attack strategy, or well, in this specific attack. And he is going to deploy, when is he going to deploy his Super Dragons? Right now, at 1 minute 20 or so. So 1 minute 20, less than 1 minute 20 to fly over this whole base. Perfect Giant Arrow to like take out both of those air sweepers. And now the Super Dragons can just go nowhere else except for into the Townhall compartment relatively early. Grand Warden Eternal Tome, because you can see after the Townhall compartment they can split up quite a bit. So now they're all splitting up. Some of the Super Dragons are going towards the top side, some of them are going towards the bottom side, but that's more than fine. Those Super Dragons, instead of like the normal dragons, in comparison of like the normal dragons, they are incredibly good on their own. So where you would have normal dragons, you need like a group of 4 to have like the same firepower as one single super dragon. Like one single super dragon in combination with a rage spell as well as a frost spell can really take out one chunk of the base on its own. So therefore, if they split up a little bit, it is more than okay, as long as they didn't like soak up any black air mines. Because of course black air mines, they can do quite some harm to those poor super dragons, as you can see right now. But still, even though instead of like the first attack, he lost a few of his super dragons, but like he still has 3 of his super dragons on the board, as well as 3 of his heroes, basically full life, which is yet again such an insane overkill. And that against a hook tower base, which I would say is relatively hard or relatively nasty to attack with super dragons, because their super dragons can just easily get pulled in one by one. But we saw what Elfunction did, just drop a freeze on top of that hook tower, and one of those single super dragons will take care of it, because well, they are incredibly beefy, and that's how you triple some hook tower diamond bases as well. Next very popular base type are of course these box bases with also like the double rage tower setup. And just take a look, the army is just so incredibly simple. Like the only thing that really changes between these attacks is, am I going to use a flame flinger, or well, basically, is there any flame flinger value? If yes, deploy a flame flinger. Is there no flame flinger value? Well, deploy a stone slammer. It's just as simple as it gets. You basically don't need to plan too much. Now he just used a few of like his troops on the left and I mean on top side as well as on the left hand side to funnel away those buildings. Now perfect giant arrow to take care of a few of those sweepers as well as a few of those air defenses. And now he's just going to spam basically everything into the Townhall with an early Grand Warden Eternal Tome, and then everything will just march its way through the base, early Minion Prince ability as well, just to slow down a little bit. And now Barbarian King is coming in from the bottom side. He is going to use his Earthquake Boots to get himself into that compartment with like the monolith in there, which is of course not going to work out perfectly this time, but still he has so many super dragons still on the board. One free spell is still left, and one thing I also find incredibly interesting is that he's actually going to use, or well, he is actually using the Yak on top of the Barbarian King. And that is basically the only reason for that is the Barbarian King likes to be stuck behind some walls, which of course, in this case, if you have the Mighty Yak on there, it doesn't really matter because, well, that Yak is going to take care of those walls anyway, and with that, your Barbarian King can get so much more value in the backend. And before I can even finish explaining what is happening in this attack, it is already over. So if you want to do your Legends League attacks incredibly fast, and also don't want to have too much thinking before you go in, Super Dragons might just be something for you. Here we have another base, another diamond base, and now before we go in, I'm just asking you the question, what would you say on this base if you would see it? Is there flame flinger value? If yes, use the flame flinger. Is there no flame flinger value? If no, use the stone slammer. What would be your guess on this base? Would you say there is flame flinger value? Yes or no? And Elfunction said, yes, of course, there is flame flinger value on the right hand side where you can just, well, he's taking out one multi-gear tower and that's enough value. You can get one single key defense and that's basically enough value with the flame flinger. But what Elfunction is going to do is actually he's going to like lure a few of those Tesla that are hidden around this hero hall with a few of his coconut loons, or well, a few of his loons. So he's going to deploy one loon right there, then he's going to deploy the flame flinger, and this loon is actually going to pop up a Tesla and as well as another Tesla. And now he knows this base is going to be symmetrical, so I have to do the exact same thing on the opposite side to lure some traps on that side as well. As you can see, some of those Tesla pop up on that side as well. And now the flame flinger gets so much value. He basically now not only gets a multi-gear tower, which would have already been enough value, but now next to the multi-gear tower he gets a whole Tesla farm where so many black mines are actually going to be. So within the rest of the base, he can now expect to not find too many more black air bombs, or well, air mines. So his super dragons are going to have a blast to actually run through this base. And time is just really not an issue with this attack strategy. So you can really just wait out that flame flinger. You can basically wait out the whole flame flinger, that whole 1 minute 30 or so that he's on the board. You can just really wait out until that flame flinger gets every single bit of value that you get, and just take a look at this pathing. Right hand side has been completely taken care of by the flame flinger. Left hand side has been dealt with both of these heroes, and those dragons have nowhere else to go except for straight through the middle. Where of course now also no more sweepers are standing against him, because the giant arrow took care of every single one of them. And now the Barbarian King, in combination with like the Earthquake Boots, is going to take care of the Townhall. He is now going to use Earthquake Boots, or well, Earthquake Boots in a bit. That will open up the Townhall compartment, where the Barbarian King is hopefully going to take care of that, but he doesn't even need it because the Super Dragons are already doing so. And you can see all of the Super Dragons are just splitting up and basically not going down. They are so beefy, they are so incredibly tanky. It just feels impossible to fail this, to be honest. If you take a look at these hits from Malfunction, they seem so simple and yet so effective. You don't have to plan out a world champion charge, counting those spells with like the invisibility with 1 through 3, 4, and then one more invisibility spell. You don't have to think about the perfect pathing you get with the Root Riders with a small world champion walk. You don't have to have full focus with a Grand Warden walk, where basically every single mistake will mean that you're going to get a fail. These attacks from Malfunction are so straightforward. Just have some decent funneling in the beginning of the attack for your Super Dragons. So basically for like the first 10 seconds of the attack, the Super Dragons stay in one group, so the Eternal Tome gets some value. And then if the Super Dragons split up afterwards in the core of the base, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. You don't have to think about the pathing through the base. You basically only need to think about the pathing within like the first few seconds of the attack, and that's really easy. You can just deploy a flame flinger and then go in from like adjacent to that flame flinger and funnel the opposite side with both of your heroes. And that's exactly how you can have a lot of success and even place 5th place in Legends League with this exact army. Army link of course is in the description, as well as the Twitter account from Malfunction if you want to support him a little for giving us these replays. With that, I would say see you guys soon with the next one. Until then, see ya and bye bye.